So we had the community rally together for the Faces of Warhammer hashtag, and then we had the tournament scene more specifically, but still the community rally together to get Games Workshop, by far the largest miniature manufacturer and games designer for miniatures in the world, to rethink how they were going to release a brand new unreleased army. Is there good and bad in this? Stick around to find out more. Hello and welcome to the Hobby Corner. My name's Kev, and yes, we are going to be discussing some of the aspects of the hobby, more specifically the community and the power that it has, and whether or not that power is for a force for good or a force for bad. Now, there are some good things out there, like when we get together and rally together and help each other out, like in the Faces of Warhammer hashtag, which Warhammer girl, if you don't know her already, check the link. I'll link her there. She became, the eye of the storm for that, because of some unwanted comment that she got on a picture of herself posing next to one of her miniatures. I did already record this and it was much more lengthy, but I want to narrow it down a bit because there is a lot of aspects of when the community come together and they rally behind a cause, a positive force, and encouraging people to be more extroverted about themselves and more comfortable with themselves. Just saying, hey, the way you do your hobby is fine, is a good thing. Posting a picture of yourself with your miniature shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. And if it's something that you just don't want to see, well, then you just keep scrolling past. That's the benefit of the way social media works. And if you scroll past enough pictures like that with no interactions whatsoever, the algorithm will kick in and it'll stop showing you that kind of stuff. Now, we do have some caveats. You can't gatekeepers without becoming gatekeepers yourself, and there are going to be people for various reasons who just feel like it might be an exploitation of good looking people posting next to their miniature just to add a little extra clout to gain more followers and hence more influence. That is not a very positive way of looking at it, but we do see the people online who do take advantage of the community, and they have these risque sort of things. They start off with, I'm painting this and I'm doing a bit of Warhammer and then they link you into websites or content that's more adult of nature on the side. And to be honest, I don't really care about that. It's not for me. And if that's the way you want to earn your living, then you do you. There's no harm in it as long as you're doing it legit. But there are going to be people who feel like that's an exploitation of a predominantly male community. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that it's the same for everyone. You can just be proud of posting a picture of yourself with your miniature to show the world, hey, look, this is the miniature I painted and this is the person behind painting the said miniature, and I'm proud of both aspects. And that is a pretty positive thing to share. But let me know in the comments what you think on that. Linking into the leaks of Votan nonsense, well, there were some rules leaks and stuff like that. We'll put leaks like that. And a lot of people thought that some of the rules were going to be way overpowered once the army is released and hits the tabletop. Now, there's two parts to this. One part is your general regular hobby player, plays mostly narrative stuff, sometimes plays a bit of competitive in a gaming club or whatever, or just collects the army. And they're not really going to be fussed about that. New army, strong rules, nothing new about that anyway, because every time a new codex comes out, there's a bit of a power creep. That's just what happens. That's how Games Workshop sell things. it's a business model, and you can't be mad at them for that, because without the business selling, then there won't be any Warhammer. So there's that. It also sort of punishes the meta chasers as well. And for those who don't know what meta chasers are, it's just people who constantly chase after the latest, hardest hitting army released, so that they can win in tournaments and stuff like that. Again, it depends on what side of the fence you are on that. Let me know in the comments below what you think on that. Whether you think that's a good thing or bad thing. If you're just a regular competitor in tournaments, that's a good thing, because you're probably getting sick and tired of these meta chasers just bulk buying these prefabricated instant win armies, and then they just sell them off and buy the next one and go on and so forth. And it's kind of like pay to win, as long as you know how to play. But for those who are meta chasers, who do chase for that, for those few instant wins in the tournament scene, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow. A lot of tournaments got together and said, look, we are not going to be having Leagues of Votann in our tournaments when released. We're banning them. And they did explicitly say it's because of these certain rules. I don't go into it because I'm not really big on the gaming scene anyway. I just more collect. But essentially, there were some really juicy rules, and they just thought, no, we're not having it. And because of the PR that went on, the negative PR, where lots of people were just complaining, Games Workshop, who normally release an FAQ somewhere down the line to sort of mitigate some of those initial issues of the book being released, because you got to remember, the book is written years before it's even released, and then before it's printed there's like some final little bits and pieces, but once they hit the print set, like, that's it, they send it off to print. Got like maybe 6 months before it's actually hitting the shelves. In that time, they're still reviewing it, they're still play testing it, they're still finding issues with it, and they're still tinkering with the rules for that FAQ that they release later on. And we could go into a whole thing about whether or not this is just a bit too rushed, and whether they should just actually take the time and be a bit more thorough about the new books, how they release them, and so on and so forth. But the point is, they've now circumvented that, and they've come out with this apology in a joking manner as well, which was fine. It kind of felt like they were taking the mick but taking it seriously at the same time, which is fine. It's a case of, should that company stay true to its course of how it was going to market the product and how it's going to release it and update it and then update it again and again further down the line? Or was it a good thing that they said, you know what, yeah, okay, it's a bit too over the top, let's sort that out? Now, there are some things about that. One, a lot of people saying, yeah, actually I'm going to get a refund and I'm going to return stuff, because those were probably the meta chasers. Those were probably people getting the army because they thought, ooh, that's really good. And it's not like it hasn't happened before. Remember the new Stormcast Dragons? They had to get nerfed quite a few times before they settled down. But you also have this possibility where, and I'm gonna quote that very famous quote: with great power comes great responsibility. And with that, you have this community that's rallied around this thing. They've made this thing happen. What's to stop them from trying that again on other things that they don't like? You can argue and clarify it for me in the comments below, because I don't know all the ins and outs of it, and I need to know your perspective on it. It just seems to be a very loud, vocal minority who have managed to make this change, not the entire community. You got to think the community is probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and maybe a couple of hundred at most have bounded together to make this happen. What's to stop them from doing this over and over and over again? That is something that we as a community need to be more cognizant about. You can't keep just going, oh no, that's too bad, that's too good, whatever, rally together, get this company to change things. Because as a business, that's not going to work. As a community of people who are looking for different things in a new army or in a new codex, that's not going to work for everyone. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to just implode on itself. But who's to say it's going to happen again? You never know. So I'm going to leave you some thoughts to think about before I go. 1. Do you think that this is the start of something, or is it a one-off power grab from the community? I say power grab, course corrector, depends on your view. And 2, in regards to the Faces of Warhammer, do you think there is a point where, in being inclusive with everyone, you end up gatekeeping those who you labelled as gatekeepers to begin with? Do you become the gatekeeper, gatekeeping gatekeepers? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on that. And of course, I'm here to learn, so teach me. Let me know all your perspectives, because I want to know each and every one of your perspectives on these subjects. And maybe we can do this more often, who knows. Anyways, I want to say big loves to these lot for being absolutely beautiful and being members on both the YouTube and the Buy Me a Coffee memberships. You can too, for as little as £2 a month. You unlock some really nice features. We've got an exclusive tab on our Discord server, which is, the Discord server is free, but you get a little VIP one if you join these beautiful people on the memberships. And of course, if you want to help support the channel, just liking, sharing, subscribing, that's always helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And big loves. Stay safe. Peace.